What's up, everybody? So, there's some sweat after we got 1.9 miles away from Guthrie's house. There is a huge amount of police activity, and I guess the police are going to be coming out with a statement on what they found, but it's up to Keelan. Yeah, this is like the first huge break in the case, it seems like. Some DNA was found in the I guess, glove or somewhere on the property. DNA was found that it did not match Nancy's or anyone in her close proximity. And I guess a warrant was issued, and now police have, just came down and raided the place 1.9 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, which is not far at all. I guess there's multiple different reports coming in on how many people have been detained. One place is saying one person, one male. Another place says a male and a female, and another place says two males and a female. Like the female is one of them's mother. So let's have a look and see what what reports are coming in, and we're just waiting for the police are supposed to come out and make a statement. They're not going to be doing a press conference, but they're going to be reading like a written statement, I guess. This is like the first statement that's been given about this for a while. So let's have a look.
33-ish minutes. Just as a reminder, also, of course, we've heard reports from News Nation on scene that they were getting moves away from the perimeter about 15 minutes ago after apparently a ton of FBI agents arrived. That is a quote from Brian.
So let's explain what we're looking at here, folks. News Nation obtained this exclusive video of a traffic stop that occurred tonight. You can see a white van there, plus a lot of vehicles. And off in the distance, you see it there off in the distance? I'm going to freeze it right here so everybody can see it. And here you can see it a little better. It's really hard to see, but if I kind of, you know what, I'm going to try to play this here like this. You can see right there the flashing lights. This might have been the final opportunity for a drone in the air to capture video, because this is clearly drone video. And there's obviously, guidances when it comes to drones being in the air at night. And so News Nation clearly got their drone in the air as this traffic stop was occurring and caught an image of it. And then we got this feed right here showing a traffic stop in front of a Culver's. Mm-hmm. Now, what connection this traffic stop has to the press conference, or excuse me, the SWAT response, that remains unclear. Something that we hope to find out when this statement drops, as promised, from the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, and we pointed it out earlier, but I'll point it out again here that there was earlier reports earlier in the week that an unmarked white van was something that they were searching for. Obviously, very clearly, you can see here in this exclusive video that there is an unmarked white van, at least in the vicinity of the traffic stop, if not the subject of the traffic stop.
So again, going here live to the scene, things have quieted down, but we do know that the FBI has arrived. So the scene isn't dead. It's just, well, it's being examined, as we could imagine right now, and what that scene looks like. We don't even know what the scene really is. We know that, there were individuals detained out of a home, so perhaps officials are combing through that home right now and looking for anything that could be connected to the Guthrie investigation.
We do remember, of course, the forensics vehicles that were seen leaving the scene a little while ago, perhaps because they had gathered some forensics evidence that they were taking back to lab. Unclear exactly, but we did see those leaving the scene shortly after we went up live about, what is it now, 30 minutes ago or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can tell you. 37 minutes.
37 minutes. So, yeah.
Stand by. I'm working on getting that map of the area.
Yeah. And what we're going to do starting now is we are going to ask, let's see, can we bring in Facebook? I think we could bring in Facebook. Yeah. So for those of you who have seen our streams before, we make these streams interactive using our hashtag system. So I'll explain how this hashtag system works, and then we're going to quite literally start to bring you guys into the conversation with our hashtag system. So we
Let's see if there's anything else being reported from anyone else here.
Really, Jamie, I've just been scouring social media while we've been on air. I mean, lots of different news outlets have now converged on this exact area. We're hearing little pieces of information. Of course, the main piece we're still waiting on is an official statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. You know, you and I have been talking about the role of forensic evidence in the past almost 2 weeks now. If forensic evidence played a role in the events that led up to this arrest tonight, what might investigators have been waiting on before moving forward?
You know, you and I spoke about it earlier this evening, lab results. Some of these samples were sent to the lab. They fast-tracked as much as they could in terms of getting those results back. So, you know, we had discussed it earlier. It could take hours, it could take days, or it could take weeks. So I'm going to suggest, based on what we see here, if it's science related, it was probably a lab issue of getting that evidence and the results back in a timely fashion. And you know, here's the treasure trove of trophies. Once they enter that house, you're going to have a full search, meaning you're going to swab everything in there, and you're going to kind of put the dots together. And and we're not saying this is the suspect, but if it is in fact connected to this crime, they're going to come up with a treasure trove of evidence. In my opinion, both science, DNA, but also the devices. What devices are they going to find in this house that may or may not be connected to the ransom letter and Bitcoin chain?
They did say that article is popping. I think it might just be the camera angle of this news broadcast, but they did say that sorry, they did say that there will be some type of written statement that they're going to give, and that's they called the media all down to this one area right here where these people are kind of reporting from. That's where they called the media to. So they contacted the media. The FBI literally just showed up right before I came live. So, you know, this is like kind of, we're just waiting to hear anything.
Something. Maybe we missed something, and maybe you're saying, hey, JB, you need to be looking at this, or did you notice that? Again, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh, or hashtag HeyGarrett, starting now. If you use that hashtag with your comment, it will populate here. If you don't want your comment to be plucked and actually visibly seen on our live stream to a lot of people tonight, just don't use the hashtag, and you can continue to chat back and forth with your fellow audience members. So let's actually bring in those comments now and see what we got. And they're coming in so fast. Okay, let's go to Kay on TikTok Live. Hashtag HeyJosh. When is the written statement? We weren't given any promise as to when the statement is going to drop, correct? We're just waiting now, like the rest of the world.
Correct. Yeah, Pima County Sheriff's Department. Now it's been 38 minutes since they tweeted out, and I quote, "There is no press briefing scheduled for tonight regarding the Nancy Guthrie investigation. A written statement is forthcoming." Now, again, this comes after we had learned that the PIO was supposedly on the way there. Seemingly they had plans for a press briefing, or at least some type of address to the media, and then it was seemingly pulled. Yeah, and now we are just waiting for this forthcoming statement.
So Crystal on YouTube Live saying, when is the press conference? They said there was going to be a press conference, Crystal. And or is it Chris? Regardless, we'll say Chris. Chris, there was supposed to be a press conference. In fact, the three of us here on stream, we all rushed in from home.
Yeah.
At around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We all rushed to get here, getting ready for press conference coverage. And then that got walked back, and it's no longer a press conference. It is now a statement. Now,
I wonder if they think if they thought they might have found something, and then after going through some evidence or whatever, or maybe not getting information out of the suspect that they were hoping to get. Maybe they thought they were going to find her there. Now they're just walking it back and they're not giving a press conference. They called all the media down here and they said they were going to give a press conference. They just literally walked it back. Now they're just giving a written statement. That's kind of what we're all waiting for.
Is the Shadow Hills area, and that's this entire area right here.
It's actually called Shadow Hills.
It's called Shadow Hills. Now, this is within the Catalina Foothills, which is this larger area, a little bit northeast, it looks like, of Tucson. This is the area in which Nancy Guthrie's home exists. Now, if we want area they were canvassing earlier. Correct. And if we want to get real specific, this right here, where my cursor is, appears to be where the road was blocked off. Again, where Garrett, if you want to attempt to pronounce the name of that street again, East Placida de Gracila, excuse me for the mispronunciation, and North Camino de Michael. This is the area that was blocked off according to that report. So again, we can zoom out here. This is specifically...
Let's change it to satellite view, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just see what we're talking about here as far as neighborhood. And I'll try to move this over a little bit so that people can see this a little bit better.
In fact, let's...
Here. Yeah, can you take this full screen and get rid of the UI there on the left? Yeah. Oh, there you go. This is a Google Street View.
This is a Google Street View. If we can move around in it,
this was less.
Should be able to.
This is less than 2 miles from Nancy's home. It's where they are currently.
To it immediately, but you're not missing anything. It's still the same sheriff's vehicle at the perimeter. There's nothing going on live, so we can go away from the live picture here for just a moment.
So again, I want to make sure we're in the right spot here.
Let's see what they are seeing over here on News Nation.
And we just can't imagine how the family is processing all this. As a neighbor, as a person that lives in the community, we just wanted to resolve, for the positive.
And so what do you make it, how's it feel? There's, 20 cop cars, a couple SWAT.
Yeah, I live right across the street.
Right across the street.
Yeah, it's weird.
Tell us your thoughts when you saw that going on, maybe, just about trying to process it all. Tell us how you feel about that.
We feel that, they might have gotten a tip. There's been a lot of tips, I'm sure, over the past 2 weeks, but this seems to be a tip that's, could be close. Hopefully it's something that's credible and, it's actual. So hopefully they get somebody, but living right so close to it, I can't imagine that if they get somebody that lives right next to me on my street, that, that even makes sense, to be in this neighborhood, to have all these cops here. There's bomb squad vehicles, a lot of cops.
Yeah, bomb squad vehicle was seen earlier leaving this area, then just flooded with police, and now just kind of waiting. Just waiting.
To Nancy's house, and for the reasons is because
I really hope they find her. This is crazy. This is just wild.
Continuum, and you just think of like the letter L, Jesse. You got environment, situation, circumstance, low, medium, and high risk, right? Well, what's the environment? Well, she's at her house. What the circumstance was she's in bed in her house, and environment, situation, and then the circumstance as a whole was she just disappears. Well, on that victim risk continuum, that puts everything to the very left of that continuum, meaning it's a low risk victim. And so there's a higher probability that there was some type of association between the victim and that particular house as a whole. Okay. And so that then tells the authorities, and as an investigator, that tells us, okay, we got to start a radius here. And we, first of all, everybody in the circle, family, friends, employees, the pool guy, the air conditioner guy, anybody in that circle. And then you move yourself out into the neighborhood. And you typically, in a case like this, would probably go between 2 and maybe 5 miles, maybe 10, if the scene continues to expand. And in this particular situation, I think there's a digital footprint somewhere. The FBI is the best in the world. The CAS team is the best in the world at giving digital footprint to local authorities. And I believe that's probably what they're chasing.
Just something to add on to what you said. My initial thought was, I think like within 24 hours, 48 hours of Nancy Guthrie disappearing, was I hope that they look at the contractors, the people who worked at the case. I can't tell you how many times I've covered cases, older victims who are exploited and victimized by the people that work in their house. And I'm not saying that's what happened here, but again, that is just something I think you have to look at when you deal with these particular situations. Okay, stand by. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're live on the scene with more breaking news in the continued coverage of Nancy.
That is insane. That's wild. So the problem I'm wondering if, you know, they searched the home when she first got abducted, and then they had the scene open to whoever, right? People were walking all over. Brian Enton literally walked up the path and was taking pictures of the blood and just showing everybody everything. He was standing right there. Then how many days later they find a glove, close it down, they put a crime scene one of the white tents up, right? Somebody had suggested that maybe maybe they put the tent up so that they could recreate what was going on in that time of day. Because it was nighttime. They wanted to try to compare the colors that the cameras were picking up and things like that. They were kind of trying to walk through and recreate things at that exact time when she got abducted, so they could see things, whatever. So they've got all these people just traipsing all over the scene. Then days later, like, they find a glove in her yard. They didn't think to search that before, or they missed it. Like, what in the actual hell is going on with that? And then to top it off, didn't they find a mask like laying on the street somewhere? I mean, there's so many things, and it seems like if they did find any type of DNA or whatever on the scene, I mean, how can you even say that belongs to the actual perpetrators? Because you opened the scene up and people were walking all over there. They were just walking, wherever. I mean, that DNA can belong to. They literally just made that a huge. They should have had the crime scene marked off, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Why wouldn't they mark? Why wouldn't they put crime scene tape up and leave it up until they located the woman? What the hell? Anybody have any ideas of why they wouldn't do that? I just don't understand. They just kind of were like, oh yeah, you know what? Go ahead and check out the blood, everybody. Get up there, get some pictures of it with your camera. And then the fact that that door camera, she had no subscription. She wasn't paying for the services. They recorded all of that anyways. I mean, thank goodness that they had that footage, whatever. But they could have given that footage up right away. It took them days to give that footage up because they didn't want people to know that, they were trying to hold off, hoping that they would solve this one without that footage, because they didn't want people to know that they've been recording all of their customers and holding all that information in their cloud or whatever they've got. It's crazy. And they shouldn't have been, they shouldn't have even been able to access any footage, because they shouldn't have been recording anything because she wasn't paying for the damn service. It's wild to me that the things that they're doing. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you are watching the stream, we are waiting for a written statement from authorities who are 1.9 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house at a location that SWAT descended on earlier. The FBI has just shown up about 20 minutes ago. We're just kind of scrolling through the different news, trying to see what the hell's going on here. And please hit the like and subscribe if you are not already subscribed. Please subscribe. Sounds like a lawsuit in the future. Exactly. Sounds like that all this evidence that they would find would be inadmissible, because what's the first thing somebody's going to say? Oh, you found the DNA at the scene. Well, did you know that scene was open for 7 days? And we've got video of people standing here walking all over the crime scene. So that DNA, I mean, my client could have been, just checking it out. There's no saying that they actually did anything. So I guess police have detained, I've heard 3 different reports. They've detained one person, they've detained one male, they've detained 2 males, and they've detained 2 men and one of the men's mother. So 3 people in total, but we don't really know. All right, let's see.
And as we're covering this breaking news in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. So as we've been reporting, there was this SWAT operation that was being conducted about 2 miles away from Nancy's house tonight. There was also a traffic stop that was conducted in conjunction with that. We have gotten word 3 people have been detained. There was 1 woman, 1 man at the house, 1 at the traffic stop. We have this exclusive video we were showing before of the traffic stop where it appears it's a white van. The reason that might matter, talked about it before, is that there were reports that a white van was seen in Nancy's area leading up to her disappearance. Don't know if that's why this was the stop. We don't have a lot of information, I'll be completely honest, but I'll tell you what we do have. Brian Enton was on the ground there. Let me tell you, he was the first one there. He was actually within the perimeter for quite some time. He was actually moved back, and when he was moved back out of the perimeter, he told us 10 cars, about 10 FBI cars showed up. So this appeared to be a SWAT operation from Pima County, but then you have this joint operation with the FBI. You are seeing forensic trucks showing up. You are seeing the collection of evidence. And also, I will let you know that Brian was told this operation, this search, pursuant to a search warrant, is going to last several hours. We don't know what's going to come of this. We saw something similar earlier in the week. We don't know if this will see the similar situation here where someone will be detained and ultimately released again. But this is coming on a day where we learned a lot more information about DNA being collected at Nancy Guthrie's house. We learned more about gloves being collected. They're seemingly trying to identify the items of clothing being worn by the suspect. So as soon as we get more information, we will. And I will also let you know, although there were early reports about a press conference that was going to be held, that is not happening. We are waiting for a written statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. As soon as that comes out, I'll make sure to bring it in. I've been talking to law enforcement, lawyers all night. I want to get some different perspective. I want to bring in my friend, Gigi McKelvey, host of the podcast, Pretty Lies and Alibi. She was on Jesse Weber Live with me earlier in the week because you and I were talking about how in this investigation, right, the public can be a massive help. They're asking neighbors to look for footage. They're asking the public, do you see this guy? I mean, I had a sketch artist earlier on who said, this is who I think it is. Right now, with all of this going on, what is social media looking like?
Oh man, it is a zoo, Jesse. It is wild. But I will tell you, in the beginning, we all were a little skeptical that is this going to be a repeat of what happened when they detained the suspect, just earlier this week. But
wasn't even a suspect.
Right. The person, the person of interest, or the detainee. I don't even know they called him a person of interest, but it just felt different tonight, Jesse. The larger presence, the staging. You guys have brought it all night long. We had Brian Enton there just keeping us updated. And so people love Brian and they know his reporting. So as he was saying this, they're staging here. The seriousness really set in that this might be the night we get some answers after 13 days, almost 14 now, of waiting to hear anything about Nancy. People just hoping she's okay, all the while trying to be realistic about things, but really just grateful that it seems like we've made some significant progress, especially since that DNA was found in the house and obviously was sent for testing. We'll see if that's related to this, but some pieces started to fit a little better tonight, Jesse, and the internet definitely is responding. I've been live, and I tell you, I've had the largest audience tonight with a lot of opinions, but mostly just a lot of love and prayers for Nancy. And
it's heartbreaking. You even look at the video of Savannah earlier this week. It is difficult to watch. And as you're seeing the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns of this case, I mean, your heart breaks for them. Let me ask you this. As this investigation is progressing, and I like to use that word progressing, it makes me feel optimistic about what we're seeing. Was it social media that helped to even identify some of the items that are worn by that suspect in the video?
yeah, I have to say, Jesse, a lot of people I saw identified the backpack and the jacket really quickly, actually. You know, people love to feel like they're helping. And we know in the Gabby Petito case, it was somebody who was just aware of the news and was very vigilant and really gave them the break they needed. And even in just saying tonight, you know, hey, I think when we get validation that this backpack was from Walmart or this jacket was from here, a lot of people are going to be right, I think, because they'll point out the similarities. There's a lot of smart people out there, Jesse. It's I think a lot of people miss their calling. I'll tell you that, because I've seen some great discoveries in the still photos and shadows and just the different areas that people are so good in that are just very vast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always love to get down on all the, you know, netizens that try to help and, you know, contribute their investigative skills, I guess, or whatever, into these types of cases. They always really try to put all of them down, really make a big issue out of it. And then, you know, now you see that a lot of people have assisted in identifying some of these items that were found and some of the things that, you know, pointed toward these suspects. There was a lot of people from social media immediately identifying these things, which means that had they released this footage sooner, you know, we might have seen this case resolved already. However, you know, they did not want to release that door cam footage. The company, I can't remember the name of it, didn't want to release their footage because they weren't supposed to have that footage. And, you know, the fact that they had the footage, they were kind of like probably hoping that the case would be resolved before they would need to submit that footage. And then when they found out that nothing was happening and they, you know, got down to the wire, they eventually sent the footage to authorities. Now there's stories about the authorities, the sheriff, and the FBI kind of butting heads on this one. I have no idea why. Has anybody heard anything about why these guys are butting heads so bad and what the deal is with that? Why don't they want to share this information with the FBI? There's all kind of stuff going on like that. It's just very strange. Very strange. Let's see what these guys have to say over here.
Days, there's endless amounts of questions that follow, but ultimately it all stems off of one, and that being, is Nancy Guthrie alive? And maybe we get an update tonight, or maybe we don't.
This is so sad.
And that poll is live now.
You know, Two Men Gaming on YouTube says there's no ambulance on scene. We don't know that, as we have another vehicle now pulling up here. Yeah,
we have a fairly narrow view of the scene, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I'll tell you from that I mean, the Fox drone video, I don't even think you could make out an ambulance. I got to be honest. The Fox drone video, impressive that they have it, but at the same time, you're not seeing all that much.
Right. I mean, if you've ever watched any night vision aerials, you know, it's a lot of blacks, whites, and grays, and it's hard to distinguish. So even if you could see a bunch of vehicles, I don't know that you could determine if one was a sheriff's vehicle, an FBI vehicle, a ambulance, or anything like that. It would be very hard to tell.
Hey, Josh, what are the law enforcement still doing inside now that they've canceled the press conference? Well, yeah, clearly they're processing a scene, and whether or not, you know, what that looks like, only, you know,
come out and tell us
the agents who are responding know. However, look, there is a public information team that at the appropriate time, once the sheriff determines it is the appropriate time, will form this statement, and that statement will be released. By the way, I have seen in the past, I just want to point this out. I don't think this is the case, but I have seen in the past instances where we've been told that there is a statement coming, and then a statement becomes a press conference because the situation develops at such a pace where they feel that as things get processed, it's more appropriate for a press conference after they originally state that the statement is released. So
and
while
this is kind of the reverse of that so far.
Right. It's a massive long shot, but could a press conference still happen? In theory, sure. Especially with this media you know, it's interesting with this media staging area that, you know, the media is still there at the staging area.
Clearly, we have a live shot here.
Clearly. So
we're still waiting.
There's even though they have basically indicated that they're not going to be doing a press conference. That was an hour ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So things, it's very possible, might have changed.
And there is certainly an appetite for something like that, because we've talked about it today. Now, especially here on the East Coast, now as we're moving into Saturday, we are now 9 days away from the last press conference, the last press briefing where they spoke on this case. It has been very little information trickling out of law enforcement as to it pertains to this. So there are people, obviously, when we had heard, right, JB, Josh, when we had heard that there was going to be a press conference, we were all excited isn't the right word, but ready to go, right? We were ready for more information.
I think the world was ready for an update.
Right. And so we kind of had that rug pulled out from under us. And now we're sitting here waiting for what we hope is still going to be an update, even if it's in written form, and hoping that it's going to happen sooner rather than later. They only said forthcoming. As you mentioned, it's been an hour. We're hoping that it's not going to take any longer than that, hopefully.
Do we know if the sheriff is on site? Says the catty guy AZ on YouTube Live right now.
I have not seen that, but yeah,
he's not at his local Starbucks sipping a latte. You would imagine that he is, yes, at the scene. We can't confirm that, but I'll hang up my news career if he's at the local Starbucks. Even though he was at the local football game, which of course caused a significant uproar. I think it's fair to say online, but you would imagine that he is on site,
or at least on his way if he hasn't already arrived.
Yep. Let's see there. Actually, you know what, Kaylee on TikTok? It's a great question. Why are there SWAT?
Yeah, the FBI has.
SWAT is you're pushing a button, and with that level of response, and you would imagine it's going to be justified in some way, shape, or form.
Right. SWAT is used for normally high risk operations, right?
Absolutely.
They're not just deployed for a simple questioning or traffic stop. They had to have thought that there was something high risk involved for SWAT to be mobilized in the first place.
My curiosity is, this is the second time they've searched a house regarding this case, or at least in the past couple of days. Previously, they didn't utilize SWAT. So I'd be curious to see what was different this time that had them going. I mean, this is clearly a bigger situation than we had a couple of days ago when the DoorDash driver was pulled over. Excuse me, the delivery person was pulled over, and then eventually detained, questioned, and released. I'll be curious to see what the difference between the situation predating that and tonight really was.
So we know that they arrived here, that this all happened because of supposedly a tip that authorities received. I mean, what tip could have warranted a SWAT response? Could it have been a tip that maybe Nancy was in the home? Is that a warranting of a SWAT response? I mean, I can't think of. Normally, SWAT is deployed for things like hostage situations.
I struggle to think of a different scenario that would also require SWAT usage in the search of a home.
There's wild speculation that I'm being alerted to that this is pertaining to an individual that might look like the person seen in the video. And when I say the video, I mean both videos, because by now there have been the sketches that have made their way around the internet of a man with a goatee. We of course dissected the Ring doorbell video
from the neighbor
repeatedly, and yeah, well, right, that one and the one with the mask, whether or not there's facial hair underneath that mask. So there's a ton of speculation right now pointing to whether or not there's a person on this street that matches that description. There's a lot of reckless, in all capital letters, reckless reporting going on right now online. And look, if that's your brand of journalism, not even to use that word, but if that's your brand of consuming information, that's That's okay, I suppose. But there's some serious, reckless reporting going on right now on social media that that's just alarming. And there we of course have a process that we stick to when it comes to distributing information, and it's alarming to see the level of reckless information sharing that is going on right now on certain channels of the internet. So people have asked me in the chat. I'm going to bring up the comments. People have asked, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And yeah, I'm looking at it now, but I'm telling you, it's highly irresponsible, and you're part of the problem if you share it.
JB, I just wanted to point out.
I mean, don't share something that isn't verified, because it might be somebody who is completely innocent and have nothing to do with this, and then there is irreparable harm to that person and their family if they have nothing to do with it, but all of a sudden their name and their face is blasted around the internet. People, this isn't. Oh, here's another. Okay, so here's the SWAT vehicle leaving. Hold on, I have it now. It just passed. Let's get it on this shot. This is on a delay of about 3 seconds. This is a Pima County Sheriff's Office SWAT vehicle now leaving the scene, or going just past the perimeter at this point. We'll keep an eye out for other vehicles going.
JB, I've been alerted that News Nation has an interview with the neighbor, and that we are obtaining that right now.
Okay. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, we, of course, are on the same team when it comes to media alliances, right? News Nation, that's our team. So in fact,
Whole Earth Sweeteners make breakfast a whole vibe. Motivation.
Live right now. I'd love to be able to tap into his feed, but I'm gonna wait. Let's see what this interview with the neighbor looks like, and we'll see if we can get that. But basically, what I'm saying is that we have access to these News Nation assets, and we're gonna bring those in as soon as we have them, and as soon as they're gathered.
Yeah, this is what I'm reading that possibly could be going on with the Pima Sheriff. It says Pima Sheriff Manos didn't request help from the FBI on the abduction and was blocking FBI access to key evidence in the investigation. And it's just speculation that the sheriff has had beef with the FBI going back to 2016 when his department was under federal investigation. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a true reason or not. Oh, looks like another vehicle is coming up, getting ready to leave the area. Let's see what that one is.
Have not watched this yet. So we're all watching it together for the first time. Our team in the newsroom has listened to it. This is with a neighbor by the name of Peter Mulk. Let's see if we can bring this in and listen.
Peter Mulk. Peter, so we're out here. We're about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house. How's this whole last 14 days made you feel?
No, it's unbelievably absurd. It's making everybody nervous. It's just surreal, and we just can't imagine how the family is processing all this. You know, as a neighbor, as a person that lives in the community, you know, we just wanted to resolve, you know, for the positive.
And so what do you make it, how's it feel? There's, 20 cop cars, a
Yeah.
couple SWAT.
Yeah, I live right across the street.
Right across the street.
Yeah, it's
So
weird.
Tell us your thoughts when you saw that going on, maybe, just about trying to process it all. Tell us how you feel about that.
We feel that, you know, they might have gotten a tip. There's been a lot of tips, I'm sure, over the past 2 weeks, but this seems to be a tip that's, you know, could be close. Hopefully it's something that's credible and, you know, it's actual. So hopefully they get somebody, but living right so close to it, I can't imagine that if they get somebody that lives right next to me on my street, that, you know, that even makes sense, you know, to be in this neighborhood. to have all these cops here. You know, there's bomb squad vehicles, a lot of cops, a lot of presence. So.
All right. Again, that was an interview with News Nation, providing to us the interview with that neighbor. There's some chatter at the scene. Let's listen in. Oh no, they killed the audio from the scene. Interesting. Oh no, that looks like a neighbor speaking, and the rain is coming down harder here. I'd like to listen in.
Alex, well, everything here is still developing and has been developing shortly after 8 o'clock Mountain Time here in Tucson. We started hearing the rumblings that law enforcement vehicles were descending here on this neighborhood. Stunning fashion, not very far away from where
We're taking a live look here. SWAT activity that was reported outside of a home in Shadow Hills neighborhood. Is about 1.9 miles roughly away from Nancy Guthrie's home. We're still waiting for a written statement from Pima County Sheriff's Department. They had previously planned a press briefing. That seems to have been canceled. We are now waiting on a written statement forthcoming as we are just monitoring this here.
Check out this. Check out this looking like drone footage of a couple of crime scene here.
Up on the left, that is where the media is assembled, and you could see over to the right where a police vehicle has blocked off. Tonight, Fox News is learning that at least 3 people have been detained in connection to the 84-year-old's disappearance. Let's take a live look right now from the Fox News drone that is over the neighborhood where law enforcement is centered right now. A SWAT team was out here earlier tonight. You could see up in that corner, up on the left, that is where the media is assembled, and you could see over to the right where a police vehicle has blocked off the street. Media was summoned here earlier tonight by the Pima County Sheriff's Office, told that there was going to be a big development in this case, that there was going to be a news briefing tonight. Well, media assembled, and we were told just a short time ago that there would be no briefing, but instead a statement that would be forthcoming shortly from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. We have been looking at X, refreshing constantly. So far, there has been no statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Office as to what this was all about, but we understand authorities detained 2 males plus one of their moms. Again, detained, not arrested. A warrant had been served at a home about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home, this location that you're looking at right now. And as we see from the nighttime video here from this infrared camera from the Fox drone, a number of police vehicles on scene here in this neighborhood tonight. That house is where Megan Spector joins us live tonight. Megan, paint the scene for us tonight about how this all unfolded. I know you were at another location when you were told, and the media was told, to go to this neighborhood about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home.
That's exactly what happened. We were sitting outside of Nancy's home. It's where we've been sitting. We've had our crews out there since her disappearance, waiting for answers and watching investigators come in and out of the home, continuing their investigation. Around 8:30 tonight, we got word that there was a law enforcement presence here in this neighborhood, which, like you said, is about 2 miles from Nancy's home. It took us about 6 minutes to get here. We made our way over as soon as the Pima County Sheriff's Department confirmed that a media staging area was going to be here. That's where we are now. Now, in that initial message, the Sheriff's Department said that a public information officer would be coming to meet us here. It implied that we were going to get some sort of update from someone in person over an interview today. We all gathered here. We've been waiting here, and I'll set the scene as I tell you what happened next. You can see this is how it's looked since we got here. The Pima County Sheriff's Department truck has been blocking off this roadway, and you can see the cones coming here. Now, after we were here for a little bit, we did get an update from the Sheriff's Department saying there will be no press briefing scheduled for tonight regarding the Nancy Guthrie investigation. However, a written statement is forthcoming. So at this point, that's caught up to speed. We are waiting for this statement. We are waiting to hear more about why we are gathered here. We know that law enforcement has been here. We have Fox News reporting that multiple people have been detained. And it's not just the Sheriff's Department on scene. In the last 5 minutes, we saw one of two SWAT trucks that we've seen tonight come out. The other one about an hour ago left. Along with the Sheriff's Department, Sarita Police is here, Oro Valley Police is here, Marana Police is here. So whatever is happening in this neighborhood is bringing in multiple agencies. And this is coming on the heels of a bunch of different information following this case. So we know that the Sheriff's Department today, they announced that someone's DNA was found on Nancy's property, and they say that investigators are working to identify who it belongs to. Now, they do say that the DNA connected was not Nancy's or someone in close contact with her, but they didn't share where that DNA was specifically found. And of course, this is just continuing as the FBI is still asking people who live in a 2-mile radius of Nancy's home to look through home surveillance videos from January 1st to February 2nd for people, vehicles, anything out of the ordinary, and report that to the Sheriff's Department or the FBI. Through those specific dates and periods. We know that the FBI upped the reward of up to $100,000 for information about Nancy's disappearance. They've talked about DNA. They've talked about evidence, including some gloves that they found about 2 miles away from Nancy's home. So they're clearly expanding to this 2-mile radius. And that kind of brings us back to where we are now. We know that the Sheriff's Department is still blocking this road. So we were able to show you video of what it looked like a little bit more into the neighborhood. But from where we are now, we can't see the house. We can't see where the operation is happening. They've pushed media back across the street. And again, we're all just waiting at this point. We're waiting for an update from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. We don't know what it's going to be. We're hoping that it's information about Nancy's safe return. We're hoping we get more information about these 3 people who Fox News is reporting has been detained. But at this point, we're just constantly checking our social media and our emails, waiting for this update from the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, Megan, I know we're all refreshing, constantly looking down to see if it's come out yet, that information that they said would be forthcoming. Now, I know you worked in the Tucson market before you came to Phoenix. There's a news anchor from a news station down there named Mary Coleman, and she's reporting that her sources down there in the Pinal County Sheriff's Department are saying that they're still waiting on FBI statement approval. I don't know if that is exactly what's happening, but that could explain a little bit why we don't have that statement just yet. Again, we have the federal government involved now, the FBI, and we've got multiple agencies involved in this. So that could be why we are still waiting for that statement. How many members of the media are assembled out there with you right now waiting for this?
A lot. And that's something that we've seen throughout this entire investigation. We're on day 13 tomorrow. It will have been officially 2 weeks since the last time that Nancy was seen. And there has been an extremely large media presence throughout this entire time, moving back from Nancy's home to other places where police are investigating, the Sheriff's Department. And now they are all outside, lined up where we were told this media briefing would have happened, waiting for information about this. I would say it's split into maybe 3 different sections, more than a dozen maybe in each one. Again, there's just a lot of questions about this investigation still, and we're all hoping that we get some answers tonight.
And have you seen any public information officer, if they have one for Pima County? I'm not sure. Has anyone come over from the Sheriff's Department to talk to you guys, to say anything about what's happening?
Yeah.
Man detained for hours in Rio Rico, Arizona, just about 10 minutes from the U.S.-Mexico border. He was questioned in connection to Guthrie's disappearance, detained in a traffic stop near the border. We all thought that this might be it, that this could be the suspect, but this man was not. He was released. The man told Fox that he works a delivery job in Tucson, and he may have delivered something to Nancy's home, but has nothing to do with the case. In fact, it appears he was identified or tipped off, police were tipped off because of his eyes. Well, yesterday, investigators set up a white tent outside of Guthrie's front door. They moved it just a few hours later, but then they also released more details about the suspect about 4 hours after that tent was removed, describing him as around 5'9" and confirming that he was wearing an Ozark Trail hiker backpack, which is only sold at Walmart or online. So all of these bits of information were finally starting to lead to something that could potentially lead to a suspect in this case. The FBI also doubling its reward for information to $100,000. And that brings us to where we are today. Again, waiting to learn more about the presence of the PCSD, the Salvarita Police Department, Oro Valley, potentially FBI, at a home near Nancy's house. So let's go back to Megan now after we've established that timeline here for anybody who's really trying to put this all together. And where we are tonight, Megan, still a lot of unanswered questions, and I don't believe we've received anything from Pima County Sheriffs in just the past few minutes.
No, we haven't yet. Again, we're constantly checking our emails, social media, waiting for this update. We know it's coming. We were told from the Pima County Sheriff's Department that we would get some sort of a written statement, an update. We're assuming it is tied to this, but we don't even know. We know that around 8:30, we were at Nancy's home, and the Pima County Sheriff's Department said that a media staging area would be here. So that's exactly where we came, and we have just been waiting to find out more details. Again, this road has just been constantly blocked off. Cars have been going through. It's hard to tell if they're neighbors, if it's people a part of the investigation. But again, we have seen at least 2 SWAT trucks come through, in addition to all those other agencies that you reported. Again, Sahuarita Police, Oro Valley Police, Marana Police, of course, the Pima County Sheriff's Department as well. All just waiting for information. What we do know, Fox News has confirmed that multiple people have been detained. Michael Ruiz with Fox Digital says that authorities have detained 2 males plus 1 of their moms. But that source cautions that during a warrant execution, technically everyone is detained. So again, at this point, we're just waiting on more specifics about who was detained, why they were detained, and hopefully an update on the search for Nancy.
Yeah, again, that's the question we're all waiting for tonight. We did see, again, as you mentioned, the SWAT teams left the neighborhood, which would not be unusual after they did their part of this operation, then to turn it over to the other officers and investigators on the scene. We did see a number of vehicles driving into the neighborhood after they moved some of those cones behind you a little while ago, I think during the beginning of our 10 o'clock newscast. And wasn't clear at that point if it was neighbors or maybe more law enforcement. But the shot from the drone, I don't know if you could see it out there, but we have the Fox News drone team has a shot overhead. It's an infrared camera, so it looks black and white, almost, like a desert landscape, obviously, because of where it's located. And we do see, we can't pinpoint the house, Megan, but we do see, I mean, just dozens of police vehicles in this neighborhood now, and we're seeing where you guys are all lined up. So it's not giving us a real clear image as to what may have gone on there, but we do still see such a huge presence of police that does indicate that maybe there is still some sort of active investigation or at least search going on, if they had that search warrant to be looking through that house. Maybe that is why we're still waiting for that statement a little bit more than an hour, I think now, since we were first told that that statement would be coming. So the play tonight, I guess, is just to keep checking and seeing if they're refreshing anything. It doesn't seem like at this point. I guess what I'm saying is if this was a major break in this case, I believe that they would still be coming out and giving a press briefing like they first said that they would be doing.
I think that's what a lot of people are assuming, and that could be correct. At this point, we just don't know. Like I said, things are changing, and we haven't been able to ask those.
No updates on that.
For where they initially said to come. They've pushed us back. We're on the other side of the street from where it is blocked off. And from here, you can't see the house that they are going into. You can only see the cars that we've listed and the law enforcement vehicles making their way through. But we know that because so many different agencies are now involved, at least the ones that are here tonight, I think it's understandable that it's taking some time, but we're just waiting for a response to come out to us and hopefully give us an update.
And Megan, I want to lean into some of your experience working in the Tucson market. When interacting with Sheriff Chris Nanos, I'm sure sometimes during the stories you covered, he is getting quite a lot of criticism, whether it's fair or unfair, by the handling of this situation. Obviously, I think at first he probably talked too much, and now we haven't heard from him for quite a while in terms of a press briefing situation. Do you think, obviously this is such a huge story, is the Pima County Sheriff's Department kind of ready for something like this, a major worldwide story? This kind of stuff really doesn't happen in Tucson, or it seems like it's pretty quiet down there usually.
That
You
one
know
thing
what? I would say that it is. And I would say that this situation doesn't happen in a lot of places. This is a very bizarre situation. I mean, we're talking about ransom notes, deadlines, Bitcoin transfers, someone being abducted from their home. There is just so much of this that is a kind of a crazy situation. It's heartbreaking and really scary. And I don't know. I would imagine that the sheriff's department has not had to deal with anything like this here in Tucson or through any of their experiences. You know, that's why I think the FBI did join this effort. Hopefully they can bring a little more help to the situation, and then we'll see what was happening here. We know that it's not just the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI anymore. It's different police departments. SWAT is out here. There's so many people involved in at least tonight. So we'll see how that carries out throughout the rest of the investigation.
Yeah, and then along with local and national media, this has almost become sort of a cottage industry right now on social with these online sleuths who are now out there. There was a guy earlier today who was online streaming just at another location in Marana of police vehicles and was having like 55,000 people watching it live. So you've got the eyes of the world on this little Catalina Foothills neighborhood.
Completely. I think it's captured the attention of people across the entire country. Like I said, of course, it's heartbreaking and so scary is part of it, but it's just also so interesting the way that this is playing out. It has now been, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow since Nancy Guthrie was last seen, and we are just still waiting for so many answers. But yeah, I mean, we have national, we have local media, we have people that are streamers on social media and YouTube, and we were following some of them as well, seeing what they were watching and what the questions that they had as well. It's just really capturing the attention of a lot of people. And I'm sure that this is where, you know, it's a double-edged sword for the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department, where we're in a situation where
The way you see an idea in your mind.
Yeah, there's still no update over on the X for the Pima County Sheriff's Department. We're still waiting for an update there as well.
I think was before the initial description of the suspect. So I can only imagine that the tips have increased. But at the same time, you have a lot of people, like you said, that are criticizing this investigation. They're wanting to know more than what the FBI and the Sheriff's Department are choosing to reveal. But I think at this point, we just have to hope that they know more than they're revealing, and that hopefully tonight we can get some of those answers.
Yeah, and sometimes in that vacuum, when there's not a lot of information coming from law enforcement, it gets filled with rumor and innuendo and speculation, which we have definitely seen in this case. And you make a good point, Megan. What we should not lose sight of in this case is Nancy Guthrie, an 84-year-old mother, grandmother, living alone in that home, who can't imagine what it was like when she came face to face with that person who was on her porch in that mask and the backpack and the weapon.
Exactly.
I mean, it's frightening to think about that. So we cannot lose sight of the fact that the real effort here is to find her and hopefully bring her back safely and that she's still alive. That's, I think, what everyone is just, why so many people are watching this and waiting for any bit of information.
100%. I think that as much as people are curious and want to know what's going on, there is just a huge Tucson community and people extended that just are feeling for the Guthrie family, and they want answers for them as well. You talked about speculation, and that's something that the Sheriff's Department actually addressed today, specifically with the gloves, which we've been talking about, which I just think this is important to note because we were talking about speculation and rumor and how things go. They went out of their way to not only clarify that gloves, they did find them about 2 miles away from the home, and that's part of the investigation, but specifically noting that there were reports, rumors, whatever you want to call it, of gloves being found inside the home, and the Pima County Sheriff's Department went out of their way to say that is not true. So I think they're battling, I'm sure, with the back and forth of trying to reveal information and also make sure that the incorrect information that is out there is being shut down quickly as well.
All right, Megan, thank you. We'll continue to stand by, obviously, as we wait for any more information from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And we'll let you refresh and check your email and see if anything came in there. Let's take another look right now at the tweets that the department, or I guess X account that the department has put out now. The last, well, you'll see the one that came in about an hour ago that said there is no press briefing scheduled for tonight regarding the Nancy Guthrie investigation. A written statement is forthcoming. Now, that is what we were waiting for. We were actually waiting for that press briefing. That was the first indication we got that that would not be happening. Now, just a short time ago after that, 24 minutes ago, Pima County Sheriff's Department tweeted out, or posted rather, that reporting that current law enforcement activity is surrounding a home belonging to a former county attorney is not accurate. So they were trying to clear up some misinformation that apparently is being spread out there about the home where the SWAT operation was centered and where two men and a woman, were detained in part of this investigation. So they were trying to clarify that. What we don't know, though, is any more information as far as what they were looking for and why these people have been detained tonight. That is the million-dollar question that we're all trying to find out tonight and waiting for them to hopefully release soon. Here's the backpack that we were talking about in the door camera video that really shook the world when this was released. It's just so frightening to see. And a lot of the experts, law enforcement experts, were saying that this person does not appear to be a professional by the way that they were acting. You saw
brought two people out. It appears.
So I think this is a repeat. So what we're going to do.
Everyone's going to be talking, but I guess not. We've got no sound over this. It's just a drone. Oh, let's look at a different angle. Wow, look at this.
Okay,
look how far.
So we're going to chit chat for a bit.
Oh my god. Look at this.
It's kind of hard to. Which house do you guys think that they're at? Well, they're right on that property. But you look here. I mean, this is a pretty heavily populated area.
Can't really even see anybody out and about. These cars.
Somebody out there, right there. What I like to say is vacuuming the lawn. The people that come outside to look. There literally was a video one time, y'all, where there was something going down in a neighborhood and the woman was taking her trash out and she literally was not watching where she was going and she tripped right there on live TV. About as good as the woman. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it where there was a snow, I think maybe in Charleston, South Carolina, which is rare. And these people were out running and they were like, don't you think it's a little dangerous to be
annoying? Hang on, let's just see this other one. That's less annoying.
more information, but we will keep these drone images up from that scene so you can keep watching as the story develops. Please stay with us here on Fox Local.
Let's take a look over here. Oh, are they saying anything? Just literally not saying anything. All right.
Someone's walking out. Let's listen in here. Someone's batteries at the moment, or they're powering down because they just can't stay up forever. And Samantha says that she's watching from moving to I'm sorry, damn, it's moving fast. Daisy says watching from New Zealand, and it's 7:22 p.m. on Saturday there.
Okay.
Wow. A lot of I see.
Let's take a look. I want to show you guys so earlier on somebody reported that the law enforcement was actually searching a home of a former what did they call it? No, it wasn't a county. I don't think they called it a county attorney. It was the former attorney general of Arizona is what they were saying. That was a home that was owned by that person. And so the Pima County Sheriff's Department come out and said, reporting that current law enforcement activity surrounding a home belonging to the former county attorney is not accurate. And I just wanted to read through some of these comments because people are kind of mad, as you can see. Somebody here posted, well, maybe if you kept the public more informed, everyone wouldn't be guessing. And somebody is not sure if anyone's going to believe you. You'll probably say something different in 10 minutes. Then somebody says, only reading comments from Pima County and Brian Enton. Just some social medias will post anything to attract people to their pages. Pregnancy is brought home to her family. And then there's just somebody made a little spoof here. Them letting a bunch of people onto the crime scene. And this is cracking me up because this is kind of just like exactly what they were doing, right? Letting a whole bunch of people just traipse all over their crime scene and then later going back to collect evidence after a bunch of people walked all over the crime scene, right? So currently we are just waiting for the Pima County Sheriff's Office. Let's see what Graf says. Who is claiming that reports regarding the former county attorney's home are inaccurate? They issued a statement clarifying that. Okay. Anyhow, I was just checking to see if there was anything updated here on the Pima County Sheriff's. Still have not issued their statement. Evidently, they are awaiting FBI approval, for their statement to, I guess, the FBI has to approve what they're going to say or whatever. So let's check back in here.
Bust it. Look, it's only funny till somebody gets hurt, and then it's hilarious. They don't have to publicly put these people's names out if they've even been arrested. I would imagine at this point they're being questioned.
Hang on. Because this lady annoys me. Let's take a look at this one. Okay. So I like these guys.
News gathering standpoint. The crews that are out there at the perimeter have powered down. There's only so long that we can stare at the same, basically this image.
Yeah.
We now have
there's a truck. Literally nothing's
happening. We now have a looping video here that shows the perimeter that's basically been set up. But to transmit live video and to drain power, ultimately, look, the strategy from a news perspective, and apologies if this is some inside baseball, but look, the idea is not all that dissimilar from having a cell phone, is that you don't want to get down to 2% on your iPhone battery, right? It's the same for these news crews. They are trying to conserve power in the event that there is something significant that unfolds in that area. So as news crews start to really get down to their final battery power, instead of going down to zero or getting close to zero, they're going to conserve battery power for the sudden, scenario where something arises where they need to transmit video quickly. So if something does happen from the scene, we are going to share that with you because they're going to pop back up on our feeds. But right now they are powering down to conserve power.
Right.
So we no longer have live access to the scene. We're waiting on the Pima County Sheriff's Office, their statement.
Yeah, just to give a recap for anyone who is somehow joining in the past 10, 20 minutes, there was reports of SWAT activity at a home about 2-ish miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson. There was also a traffic stop that coincided with this nearby, and at least 2 individuals, both men, were detained for questioning at the time of the warrant's execution. It was also reported that the mother of one of those individuals was also detained. Again, to be very clear, that does not mean that they are suspects, only that they have been detained to be questioned as SWAT, FBI, Pima County Sheriff, all of the responding agencies comb through the scene and look for whatever it is they're looking for.
Yeah, and I appreciate that there are people, that there are others that do have live pictures, with their cell phone, that there are people out there that people are saying, JB, but wait, there's bring up this feed on TikTok. It's somebody's got a cell phone out there that's pointed at the area. It's not that simple. I can't just bring up any other person's TikTok. That's just not how a news station like ours operates. We do things the right way, and just stealing somebody else's content is it's just not our MO. So we'll continue. Look, here in the stream center, I'll just kind of bring up slider cam here for a second. Over Garrett's shoulder, there's a feeds monitor, and I can see all the incoming feeds, right, that we need to be able to share press conferences, live cameras, whatever it may be, anything feed related. And if I see it pop up, it's right in front of me. I can tap into it in 5 seconds flat.
Let's see. There's a interview here. Somebody
worked close. Look at Gabby Giffords was a perfect example. So for somebody to come out and say the sheriff has stopped, first of all, they just don't know. That's one. Two, it's just crazy. If I may, I'll give you the background on that statement. So it was about some DNA on a glove that Quantico wanted or the FBI wanted, and we said, no, it's coming here. That's so far from the truth of what happened. This case started on Sunday afternoon for us. By Sunday night into the early hours Monday, my team had collected all the biological and all the physical evidence at that scene to suggest that, oh, they left stuff there, they did a bad job. That's just ludicrous. And that's an insult to my team. We've processed crime scenes for decades. We understand the rules of evidence and how to protect a crime scene. We left the crime scene because we had everything we saw as evidentiary value. We had county attorneys come out and do those things. The FBI joined us when? Not days later that's been reported. That day, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that morning, I was in this office, and my detectives said, tell me what we got. We have all this biological evidence, and we have all this physical evidence. Okay, the physical hard cameras, the cell phones, computers, the FBI does a great job. How do they know that? Because they work with them. They have the resource. Give it to them. We called the FBI, absolutely sure. They took it. We took the biological evidence because we have a lab. We've worked with this lab for decades. And it's a lab that,
okay, so that's good to know. According to that, I guess that is the sheriff, he said they took the biological evidence and they passed off the physical evidence to the FBI because they could process that a little bit better. So that is the case. That's the story with that. And we were told that, they were refusing to work with the FBI and stuff like that. Well, I guess, according to him, that is untrue. But, that's according to him. So we don't know.
Is it coming soon? And they'll usually, in previous instances of big stories like this, they'll usually get more of a heads up than a national news reporter who's really just been on the scene for the last couple of weeks versus a local news reporter who has developed these sources likely over many years.
Uh, 2 hours. Still nothing posted either. Nothing.
as to, so many different reasons as to why. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, and but I'll just give you, without going through the myriad of examples as to why a statement could be delayed. And we've done this before, by the way. We have tap danced in the past, waiting for a press conference, waiting for a statement, waiting for, everything from a Facebook post being put out in other cases that we've covered. Just an example, they're continuously processing the scene right now, and they want to make sure that they are doing a full and thorough canvassing of the scene before they put out a statement, so that they don't put out the statement prematurely and then make a discovery soon after that ultimately changes the equation. So
yeah, they called everybody down there.
what's this?
And then nothing.
I'm trying to see if we can get video of the FBI speaking with a man in a Culver's parking lot that we had previously seen on reports.
Got it.
I'm checking for that update. There's just nothing.
Still looking through, trying to find anything about this written statement, but has not seen anything on it just yet.
I'm seeing unconfirmed reports regarding a range.
This is what happens in construction when you try to hire in-house.
Confirm that information this time. I know that there are a lot of people who are really trying to get my attention with that one, and I cannot confirm any of that at this time.
Still looking through, trying to find.
I'm seeing unconfirmed reports regarding a Range Rover.
Okay, Range Rover.
I can't confirm that information this time.
We don't know what that's about.
What's coming in? Linda, has any of the family been on scene? No, and I can almost guarantee you the reason why. If a member of the Guthrie family was at any of these scenes, it would become quite the circus from a media standpoint. Given the amount of media there, any member of the Guthrie family showing up to any of these spots, you would imagine that Savannah Guthrie would advise everybody in the family to stay tight knit as a unit, and not showing up to a scene. It would, even if it wasn't the family of a national host on a network like NBC, if it was just any other, it would be highly unorthodox for a family member to just show up to one of these scenes. So, but the answer to your question, Linda, is no.
Oh, there's something that could be interesting.
What's also interesting from the standpoint, with this being, a late.
It's the police right here, right to the middle agent's left foot. You see somebody in those might be, well, they could be Nike's white pants. That's literally all we see of this person. That's the first thing I've seen of any suspect. So he was wearing white pants when he got popped. All right, we'll go back to this feed. If I see anything else interesting, I'll let you know. Oh, wait, there is a video here. Let's show this video of them talking to whoever they detained. Oh, Culver's, that's cool, but man, that camera back. Culver's is good, y'all. Yep. So you see there. Looks like they might be taking fingerprints from him or something, taking something. We just got a Culver's right near us, y'all. Their little battered cheese curds are so good. So, JLR put out the feds are towing a Range Rover. I'm just looking to see anything here. That's just some SWAT stuff. We saw the exact van leave the scene around the time the second. Let's see. Unconfirmed. So we'll keep scrolling. I don't want somebody's van to be all over the internet if it's nothing that they have. Pima County has put nothing out yet. Still forthcoming. Let's see if Brian Enton has put anything new out. Yeah, so this is kind of the time where, what is this? That we saw that, the larger SWAT. Brian hasn't posted much. Okay, well, I just wanted to show you guys that. We'll go back to watching this until something happens. Let me look at YouTube TV and make sure News Nation isn't back live. No, that was at 9:39 Mountain Time, so that was what we were watching. That was so fun. They texted me and were like, "Can you come on?" And I was like, "Oh man, you got 10 minutes." Law enforcement is at Culver's towing a Range Rover.
Okay. Maybe there. At Culver's, that's where she just showed that picture.
I'm just trying. I'm talking to Troy, seeing if I can get some information here.
Yeah, we gotta hurry.
They do look like little ants, don't they? And just think about each one. You know, they go into these situations where they're executing a search warrant, putting their life on the line, you know? Major respect. Major respect. They don't get paid enough for what they do, that's for sure. Let's hit play. You can see they're all just kind of standing around. I guess at this point, everybody's detained. And if you hear a little whoop, whoop, I'm in a WebEx where I've got my friend Troy from Blunt Force Media. Go give him a follow. Great advocate for kidnapping victims and really has some good content. So please go follow him. Really, really cool dude. Yeah. So I have a new email address, by the way. I stink at checking my inboxes, like even my text messages. So I decided to set up an email instead of inboxing. I'm going to close all those out because I don't check them and it's bad. But y'all, there's enough hours in a day and I'm a one-woman show. I don't have producers. I don't have any help. I do the graphics, everything. So time is limited, but my email, send Gigi your alibi at gmail.com. I will definitely, aloha from Pearl City, cold beer. My kind of person right there.
I think the Range Rover she might be talking about is the one at the traffic stop, and there's a couple people who like that somebody's towed it or something, or they're towing it now, but they cannot. Nobody confirmed it yet.
You know, the time of day and where we are in the week.
Yeah, we just no updates. It's getting annoying. I don't know how these poor news people stand out there waiting for these idiots to get the statement to.
Yep, I see all the reports about the Range Rover. I not saying they're not true. I'm just saying I can't confirm them. That's all I'm saying. And the particular network that is distributing that's not something that I have access to.
JB.
Yeah.
You killed Mike's for a second.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, News Nation is not live, so they must have decided. What they decided. Let me see.
Breaking news from the Stream Center. Here's JB Buno.
A new report just in from local station KVOA, that's News 4 Tucson, the NBC affiliate, claiming that a neighbor spoke to the station saying that another person, after 3 people were detained, another person shot himself in the head during a SWAT operation on Friday night in Tucson, Arizona. Welcome back into the Stream Center, folks. So this is a new development coming from a local television station in Tucson, Arizona. And we have to caution you that this report is singular as of right now. And it is all based on the word of a resident in the area. Okay, so a Shadow Hills neighborhood resident spoke to News 4 Tucson. That's the NBC station in Tucson, saying that this person witnessed 3 people being detained, and then another person shot themselves in the head during a SWAT operation. And I believe that that is the extent of the information in this report. I caution our audience here that this is from one news station right now, and this is one news station taking the word of one resident.
All right.
It would how do I say this? The television station is putting a lot of trust in this one person to go with this report. That's a pretty significant thing to report based on a singular source who ultimately is a stranger. When it comes to the semantics of how we do our job reporting, right? You're always trying to verify things with as many people as possible, right? To not make this too complicated. You want.
Hang on a second here. We got some other information coming in. Maybe no sound, but here is footage live now from Fox. Police looking at a car near the Guthrie home. So this is what they were talking about. Looks like FBI as well. This is what they must have been talking about when they said they couldn't verify, but now we've got some footage of it right here. So now reports are coming in that one news station has reported that they detained, I guess, 2 people because one person, ended their own life, but that's just coming from the word of, I guess, a neighbor and one news station only. So it's not really anything that can be verified right this moment. This is just live right now footage of them looking at a car near the home. Wow. Yeah,
okay.
You know what?
We have been away for a moment. We've been doing some fact finding behind the scenes.
Okay.
For those of you that are watching at this late hour, this is a special edition of Live Now. We broke out of our overnight playlist because there was an increase in police activity, and there were reports of somebody being detained, which eventually turned into, according to Fox News Digital, at least 3 people being detained. That does not mean any were suspects. We don't know any 3 of them. We don't know if one of them was a suspect. We don't know if any of them were a suspect. All we know is that police have been telling us since we learned of this that they were going to not hold a press briefing, but they would release a statement, and that statement was forthcoming. That was a little over 90 minutes ago.
Okay.
Looks like we have the statement. It just came in. The Pima County Sheriff's Department saying on X Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available.
Good job, you assholes.
Unclear to me if that is all we'll get for tonight.
I'm pretty sure
But it
that's
appears
all
like it
we'll
might be
get
that
for
way.
tonight.
No additional information.
Wow. So they were going to give a statement. They announced on here that they're getting ready to, let us all know a little something, right? They call all the news outlets down to this place. They've got SWAT. They just got increased presence at this place. They executed a search warrant at a home. They say they detained one person, then they say they detained two people. Now they're saying they detained three people, two men and one of the men's mothers. There's one neighbor who is reporting that just one neighbor has reported that one of the people, I guess they tried to detain, self-exited. All right. Self-exited. And that's not been verified by anybody. It's just what one of the neighbors has told one news outlet. One of the people involved, I don't know if they were going to detain a third person or a fourth person, and that person self-exited. Maybe that is why they are still there, why there's so many people there right now. I don't really know. Yeah, he unalived himself. Exactly. Again, that's not factual information. It hasn't been verified by anybody. One news outlet has reported it on the word of one of the neighbors. So again, I'm not sure if they were going to detain four people and they only were able to detain three because one unalived themselves, or if it's one of the three that they keep referring to. I doubt it would have been one of the three because they would have said, only two people were detained, I would imagine, if one of them was no longer alive. So I'm just going to assume that perhaps they were going to detain four people. One of them unalived himself. We waited this entire time. Again, they called all these news outlets down there about 2 hours ago. They had a bomb squad, I guess, over there first. Then they had huge police presence. Then the FBI rolled in about an hour ago. Then we saw one SWAT vehicle roll out of there. They said they were going to give a press conference. Then they downgraded that from a press conference to a written statement. And we waited 2 hours under the advisement that they were waiting for FBI approval for their statement. Their statement is as follows. Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road in North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. Now, the news outlets are saying they don't know if this is all that's going to be reported. I have a feeling that's it. I have a feeling that's all they're going to tell us at this time. The FBI has now just kind of put a lockdown on things. So I tend to personally myself probably believe that somebody did unalive themselves. I would imagine that's probably why they're still there. They're probably collecting evidence and all this other stuff too. But yeah, there's tons of police still down there. They've kept media on the hook all night for hours now. They have a Range Rover that they I guess they performed a traffic stop on a white van earlier this evening. From the information I guess they got when they pulled over that white van, they then decided, they pulled over the white van. They then went and got, I guess, a search warrant for this property. Then, all hell broke loose over at the property. There was like bomb vehicle. People were freaking out. Then the police rolled in. Then the FBI rolled in. It's just been a big mess. And once again, they literally have given us basically nothing, no information to go on. As of right now, you can see right here. This is the place where it's showing that they were looking at this vehicle. We found this vehicle. Is this the Range Rover they were looking at? Is this what's in the back of it? Or is this a police vehicle? Greyhound, is that a police vehicle, do you think? Right there? Or is that the actual... I guess that's the Range Rover they're searching, right? That looks like the vehicle they're searching, doesn't it? Let's see if they actually are saying anything about it.
And after that, you'll hear a little bit more expert analysis and commentary from me and several other guests. My colleague Josh Breslow also speaking with a number of people about the Guthrie case today as well. I spoke with Michael Babcock from TMZ. So all of that coming up shortly on the overnight playlist. Let's hit a commercial break. The playlist beginning in a moment. Have a good night and have a good weekend.
Oh no, that's their Chevy. Oh no, I can't tell. Is that their Chevy that they were looking at, that we were seeing in the backup, or what? It looks like that's the Range Rover. The Chevy is on the right. And they switched in.
3 of them. We don't know if one of them was a suspect. We don't know if any of them were a suspect. All we know is...
Here we go. Let's listen to this real quick. Yeah, there's no point in listening to information. Yes, exactly. It's a police vehicle. I think both of those. Yeah, he just grabbed the camera out of the back of that vehicle. So I don't think they were showing the. I need to see that angle that we just saw. Maybe kind of looking in the back or something.
They've opened up the hatch of that
Range
Rover. There are 2 sheriff's deputies holding a yellow sheet at the back so that the cameras cannot see it. And there are investigators with flashlights looking in the back section of that SUV. It is interesting that they have blocked the view. Obviously, we don't know what this is, but this is a pretty interesting development that we are seeing live right now as it plays out at this intersection. Not far away from the home, again, where you guys are just now. This is at River and First Avenue, for those who are familiar with the Tucson area. So, Megan, I just want to let you know, I don't think you could have that vantage point, but that is what's going on. So this vehicle does seem to be a pretty interesting piece of evidence here, whatever may be in the back of it.
Definitely, yeah. And we've just moved over. So where we first started, we had just hopped out of the car just to get on this Rover, and you can see FBI agents are holding, like you said, this sort of tarp trash bag sort of material, blocking whatever they are looking at or pulling out of the trunk. So yeah, at this point we can't see it, but they're focusing on this car and making it pretty clear that they don't want the people around it to see what they are doing.
Yeah, they've now got those sheets up, or whatever you want to call them, on both sides of the vehicle here, shielding from view whatever this may be. This is quite interesting here tonight. FBI agents and sheriff's officers. We saw them focus on this car maybe about an hour ago. It's in a Culver's parking lot. And we couldn't at first figure out what the interest was. They took a lot of photos on the outside before they accessed the inside. Whether it was unlocked, how they got that hatch back open, I don't know. I didn't see that. But you see their flashlights in there as well as they are searching around in the back part of that SUV. Again, it's a Range Rover that was just parked in that Culver's parking lot and now has become center of an investigation. And this again comes after those 3 people were detained and a search warrant served at their home. Megan, how far away? You just drove over from that home, so how far away would you say this is from where you were?
Not far. It took us about 5 minutes to get here, but this is certainly more on a main road. The media area where they were looking earlier was in a neighborhood, very residential. Now we're around restaurants, gas stations. It is a major intersection here in Tucson. We've stepped on the other side of where we started when we first hopped on. And now we're getting a better view a little bit. We saw they were blocking off all sides of this trunk. Now it looks like they've closed the trunk. If I'm staring at it correctly, they're pulling down this paper, folding it back up. But again, because they blocked it off, we weren't able to see what they were looking at inside this car.
Yeah, whatever it was, they did not want the media cameras to see it. And the trunk, the hatchback has been closed now.
Somebody else.
And what comes next, we don't know. They had the license plate covered up with basically a yellow piece of legal paper. We don't know if that was whoever parked the car did that, or if that was from the police or law enforcement, so that nobody would try to look up that license plate and find out who the car belongs to. I'm not sure about that. But again, FBI on scene, Sheriff's Department. You mentioned some police, local police as well, probably just for helping out with whatever they may need if there's any traffic control in the area to keep people away. And they have now closed that trunk and documented whatever was in the back. So, wow. Interesting turn of events out there tonight, Megan. And again, the tweet, the X post that we were all waiting for from Pima County Sheriff's Department kind of turned out to be nothing, not explaining really at all what was going on out there. Here it is. I'll read it to you again. Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue, where Megan was, related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. No talk of any press briefing, anything like that. So I guess we are still waiting for any information, as we have been really for most of this case, to find out what the status is of the search for Nancy Guthrie. Again, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie taken now that we've passed midnight, or getting close to midnight, 14 days ago it will be. And still no information about where she is, how she's doing, if she's alive. So many questions, we just don't know. And I guess we probably won't be getting that information, Megan. Anything else out there that you could tell us about what's going on tonight, or does it seem like they're kind of wrapping things up at this location?
Girl, you there? Girl. Technical difficulties on that, I guess.
Hopefully tomorrow they're able to release more information about all of these situations, how they're connected and what they actually found here. But it does look like they might be wrapping up at least.
She keeps getting technical difficulties. 1 second.
Going, and we're going to keep an eye on these live pictures as we wait more updates from the Pima County Sheriff's Office on the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Again, you can continue watching this stream, and Fox 10 will be back on the air live starting at 7 o'clock in the morning with the latest in these overnight developments as we just passed the.
Yeah, it is looking like that is it for right now for tonight. They don't seem like they have any other information. Whatever they found in that Range Rover, we don't know what it was. I'm hoping that, I mean, if they would have found the body, I don't think they would have closed it back up waiting for technicians or something. I think they would have kept it open and kept working. But I don't know. I don't know what their procedures are if they would have found something. But they did hold up a sheet to block the view, so we couldn't see what exactly they were looking at or trying to retrieve from the back of that Range Rover. At first, I thought they put that sheet up because they found, something terrible, but we just don't know. Let me put this up. Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, No additional information is currently available. And I wonder if if they said at the request of the FBI to kind of like, you know, if that rumor was true about them not really getting along in with the FBI, giving a hard time to the FBI. I did find where they had interviewed, it looks like the sheriff. I wanted to listen to the very beginnings of that really quickly because it has to do with him cooperating in the like cooperating with the FBI in this investigation. I wanted to see, I kind of caught the tail end of it, so I rewound it to see what exactly it was that he said. So as of right now, there is just no other information. I don't think they're going to be giving any information, but they did call everybody out to, the scene where they just had a just giant police presence, SWAT team. There was a bomb squad vehicle at one point. FBI rolled in, and then, it got downgraded from a press conference to an ex post, basically. And this is the ex post that no additional information is currently available. So let's take a listen really quickly to what it is. I think this is what this is the sheriff of Pima County talking about his relationship with the FBI and how he gave FBI the physical evidence and they took the biological evidence because they have a lab and whatnot. I just want to hear what he has to say because it just sounded strange to me. Let's have a listen for a moment. See if he says anything worthwhile here. I want to see the lead up to it. That's why I rewound it just a tiny bit. So let's listen in.
For someone to say that we're not working with the FBI or that the sheriff is stopping evidence from going up, that's just crazy. That's ludicrous.
That's crazy,
Why
guys.
would I
Ludicrous.
not use the FBI and their free services? What's frustrating to me is, as you know, at our press conference, I said, we're done with press conferences. We got a lot of work to do, and so when something significant comes up, we'll be there. So I've been a little silent, and I get it. People are asking more and wanting to know, and I want them to know. But there's a process here that we have to safeguard in this investigation, and you're not going to know everything. But so I kind of ignore the white noise, right? But when you say things that are going to be divisive to our agencies, and I say agencies, I need to step in because that's not only critical to this case, it's critical to what we do for our community. The relationship between the Sheriff's Department and the FBI is valued, not just by the FBI, not just by the Sheriff's Department, but by this community.
Anybody else feel like it's a little bit weird? Of all the things going on, this is what he had to say. Okay, so why did they remove it from the Range Rover to begin with? Why not tow the Range Rover to the garage where they can unload it without all the curtain drawn? True. Not necessarily. Ambulance isn't always used. Depends on the scene. I've been at a lot where the medical examiner would transport right there. Locked off the Range Rover with sheets and took stuff out, said nothing. Whatever they pulled out was small. Yeah. I don't, what do you guys make of this, the sheriff? I just find it weird that, I guess, he has to come out like, I guess we could take him at his word that he's telling us this because it is divisive between the FBI and the Sheriff's Department for people to think that they may not be working together. Yeah, I'm sure it seems like their hands are pretty much tied, at least according to the post that they put up. I just found it funny that I just caught that he mentioned, like, at the request of the FBI, we can't tell you anything, basically. So it was kind of like all the things they could have just said no information, we have no further information, but he added that in there. Like, at the request of the FBI, we couldn't tell you anything. So I just thought that was a little bit strange to add in. Anyways, guys, no new updates right now. It was all just, a big bunch of, I don't know what. I don't know what. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. Good night, Great Hell. Thank you so much for answering some questions for us and stopping by. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, nothing really currently new. Just that they, searched the house. They detained 3 people, I guess. Perhaps there was a 4th person, and there's a rumor that they may have unalived themselves. This is coming from a neighbor. We don't know if it's true. We don't know anything about that. But that's the word on the street. Okay, word on the street, I guess you could say. So we're just gonna, hopefully tomorrow we'll hear some more updates. Hopefully, we will find this woman. This is terrible. This is absolutely unhinged and terrible that somebody would do this to an 84-year-old woman. Like, what the hell is this world coming to? Really, truly. But thank you guys for stopping by to get an update. Sorry guys, I thought we were gonna hear something. We had a huge hoopla over there, so I don't know. Please like the video and subscribe if you're new, and make sure you ring the bell so that you are alerted to all of our new content. It's so amazing over here where we have so much fun. We're amazing. Anyways, I love you guys all. Try to get some sleep, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good night, guys.